Counselor Sweeney.
I'm here.
Counselor Davis.
Present.
Counselor Hennon.
Here.
Counselor Fury.
Present.
And Counselor Norton.
Here.
And Mayor Morfield.
I am present. Thanks, Michelle. With that, I'll go ahead and call this special session of the Whitefish City Council to order for Monday, December 14th, 2020. Thanks everyone for taking the time to meet on this second meeting in December, which we normally don't have scheduled, and the staff as well and the public that's participating this evening. We have one item on the agenda, but before we open that item in that public hearing, I will ask Steve Cornell to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, if you may.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks very much, Steve. Appreciate that. With that said, we'll move to item 2 of our agenda, which is the only purpose for our meeting this evening, our one public hearing, which will be resolution number 20-44, a resolution urging individuals to follow public health guidance and directives and expressing support for the Whitefish COVID-19 task force. And Angela or Dina, unless you have any comments, my plan was to walk through the resolution in its entirety, and then we will open it for public comment.
That's fine, John. If you want to take over the presenting of it, no problem. I'm happy to do it as well.
I'll handle it, Dana. I didn't. Okay. Thank you, though.
On this version, I'm going to just tell you there is one staff recommended amendment based on comments we did hear from the school district. So I'll touch on that one.
Great. Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and read this resolution, which will be resolution 20-44, into the public record this evening. And it's a resolution of the City Council of the City of Whitefish urging individuals to follow public health guidance and directives and expressing support for the Whitefish COVID-19 task force. Whereas on March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic due to the spread of novel coronavirus, also referred to as COVID-19. And whereas on March 12th, 2020, Governor Steve Bullock declared a state of emergency related to COVID-19. And whereas on March 13th, 2020, President Donald Trump declared a national emergency related to COVID-19. And whereas on March 18th, 2020, the Flathead County Board of Commissioners declared a state of emergency related to COVID-19. And whereas on March 19th, 2020, Mayor John Mulfeld declared a state of emergency related to COVID-19 in Whitefish. And whereas on April 22nd, 2020, Governor Steve Bullock issued a directive establishing the phased reopening of Montana, which provided that his previous directives remain in effect. And whereas on May 19th, 2020, Governor Steve Bullock issued a directive establishing the conditions for phase 2 of the reopening of Montana, which provided that gatherings of 50 individuals or more should be canceled if social distancing cannot be maintained. All vulnerable individuals should continue to adhere to stay-at-home guidelines, and further provided that his previous directives remain in effect. And whereas on July 15th, 2020, Governor Steve Bullock issued a directive requiring that face coverings be worn in indoor spaces open to the public in every county with reported 4 or more confirmed and active cases of COVID-19. And whereas on October 20th, the Whitefish COVID-19 task force was formed by representatives from various organizations and businesses in Whitefish to encourage community-wide implementation of recommended health measures to slow the spread of COVID-19, support our hospitals and clinics, keep our businesses and schools open, and support our frontline workers by developing consistent communications. And whereas on November 17th, 2020, Governor Steve Bullock issued a directive requiring face coverings be worn in indoor spaces open to the public in all counties, regardless of active cases, limiting gathering sizes to 25 or less when social distancing is not possible or not observed, and placing additional restrictions on bars, restaurants, breweries, distilleries, and casinos, including capacity limits of 50% and closing till no later than 10 p.m. And whereas as of December 9th, 2020, the Flathead City County Health Department has reported 7,365 cases of COVID-19, 21 active hospitalizations, and the death of 44 Flathead County residents due to complications from COVID-19. And whereas the City Council was requested by the Whitefish COVID-19 Task Force to support its mission by urging individuals to follow public health directives and recommendations, to reimagine their holiday traditions, especially those that include large gatherings, and to take the pledge to be a friend of the fish at www.whitefishcovidcares.com, all to protect our vulnerable population and ensure our healthcare system does not face undue stress. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Whitefish, Montana, as follows. Section 1. All of the recitals set forth above are hereby adopted as findings of fact. Section 2. The City Council supports the mission of the Whitefish COVID-19 Task Force to provide consistent messaging that encourages community-wide implementation of recommended health measures to slow the spread of COVID-19 so that we may ensure our hospitals and clinics are not overburdened, keep our businesses and schools open, and support our frontline workers. Section 3, the city is committed to its partnership with the Whitefish School District, North Valley Hospital, and the Whitefish Convention and Visitors Bureau to fund the messaging campaign of the Whitefish COVID-19 Task Force through the local government reimbursement program funded by the state of Montana through the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or otherwise referred to as the CARES Act. Section 4, the city implores all individuals to follow all of Governor Bullock's directives and the recommendations of the Flathead City County Health Department to slow the spread of COVID-19 and protect our most vulnerable populations. Individuals should stay at home when sick, wear a face mask when covering when visiting indoor spaces open to the public, limit gatherings to no more than 25 people, preferably no more than 15, in situations where social distancing is impossible to maintain, and continue to practice proper hand washing and sanitation protocols. Section 5, the city encourages both residents and visitors of Whitefish to take the pledge to be a, quote, friend of the fish at www.whitefishcovidcares.com. Please visit the site. Section 6, the city urges all businesses to comply with the governor's directive, including the reduced capacity limits of 50% and closure no later than 10 p.m. that apply to all restaurants, bars, breweries, distilleries, and casinos, the requirement of the use of face coverings while indoor, and the mandatory notice of such requirement, and the proper social distancing of employees and customers. Section 7, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption by the City Council and signing by myself, the mayor thereof. And with that said, that is the resolution presented to the council this evening. I do understand that we did receive some comments from the Whitefish School District, and so I will defer to Dana to bring those items to our attention before we open the public hearing. Dana.
Thanks, Mayor Multhall. You can see on this page right now that I have displayed there is a red line section. In talking with Superintendent Means, one of the comments was that, the gathering of 25 people, preferably no more than 15 people, it does exempt the school districts. And so one thing we wanted to clarify is, the purpose of those gathering limits is so our schools can stay open. And so I've added the next two sentences because both schools and places of worship are actually exempt from that gathering limit. But I want to also, recommend the council consider strongly encouraging the use of virtual services if social distancing is not possible or practiced for places of worship. So It's just a consideration, or if there's other language that you'd rather have there, I'm open to that. I just drafted this based on the comments from Superintendent Means.
Thanks, Dana. This is an edit or addition to Section 4, an amendment, I should state, and I'll just go through that brief amendment. Schools and places of worship are exempt from gathering limitations in Governor Bullock's recent directive. Places of worship should strongly consider the use of virtual services if social distancing is not possible or practiced. And I'll just clarify with Dana, was that the amendment in its entirety, Dana?
Yes, that is correct.
Thanks very much. With that said, I'll open it up to questions or comments from the council. I prefer just questions at this point until we hear from the public. I will start with Frank. Any questions for staff, Frank?
No questions at this time, no.
Thank you. Andy?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Ryan?
Nothing for me right now, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ryan. Ben?
Questions, thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Rebecca?
I just have, under section 4, I was wondering if we could change the language to read, the city implores all individuals to follow all of Governor Bullock's directives. Just, that's how you read it, John, and I think it reads better. And then you also said stay at home, but I don't think it's necessary to put it in there. And then under section 7, I asked Angie about this. We don't know what the new administration, the governor-elect, is going to do with the existing directives, but I was wondering if we could just discuss if it was possible to put under section 7, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption by the city council and signing by the mayor thereof, and will expire on March 31st, 2021, period.
Thanks for the comments, Rebecca. I will take those as friendly amendments to the ordinance or to the resolution after we entertain public comment, and those would be amendments prior to voting on the original motion if there is a motion for approval. And then we can direct your questions regarding section 4 and section 7 to Dana and or Angie if Angie's on the call this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. And finally, Steve, any questions or comments?
My only question is if we need to update the number from December 9th. It's pretty easy to find those numbers in terms of, and I'm referring to whereas of December 9th, 2020, the Flathead City County Health Department has reported 7,365 cases. We've had almost 800 cases since then. I don't know if that needs to be updated or if it really makes any difference or not.
That's really up to the city council at this point. We do it as of the date that we draft it. If that's of interest, we could probably pull the numbers from today and make that change if needed. It's just a whereas, kind of more of a history for the sections below, but again, that could be an amendment if necessary.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Steve. We can bring that up after we hold our public hearing tonight, if that's okay with you. And any further comments or questions from the council or staff before we open the public hearing? Not seeing any. We did advertise for a public hearing on what will be emergency ordinance 20-44, and we'll hold that public hearing. Now I would like to invite Michelle, our Director of Administrative Services, to help with the public comment period. And Michelle, if you don't mind, if there's any written comment that you can report on first, and if not, then even if we do have, then we can then move on to those that have called in tonight.
I have not received any written public comment. So those who are attending the meeting tonight, if you wish to speak towards this item, please on your web page, To the right side is your participants list. Find your name and hover over it. Click on the hand icon. If you're joining by phone, please dial *3 on your phone pad. Or if you are not able to find your icon by your name, there's 3 dots down at the bottom of your page next to the red X, to the left of the X. Right click and the hand icon shows up there. If you're unable to do any of those, you are able to send a chat to me, your question, which would be the chat button to the bottom right lower portion of your screen. Type your question and then hit enter and it'll send it over to me. I don't see, I don't think we have anybody who wishes to speak towards this right now.
Great. Thanks very much, Michelle. With that said, I will go ahead and close the public hearing on what will be resolution number 20-44. I'll help guide the discussion, and I'm going to do it in order as which the comments appear in the actual resolution. We did have a comment from Councillor Quinnell that related to the 10th whereas clause to update the statistics that were reported on as of December 9th, 2020. I think it's a good idea. If there's no opposition from the council, we'll just go ahead and direct staff to make those changes if we do have a motion for approval. Is that okay with the council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think that's fine. If you would prefer a motion to get this thing started, I'm happy to make one.
Please do.
I would move that we adopt resolution 20-44, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Whitefish, Montana, urging individuals to follow public health guidance and directives and expressing support for the Whitefish COVID-19 Task Force.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Hennon. Thanks very much, Frank. With that said, let's go ahead and actually make these edits, if they're supported by the council, or amendments as actual motions. And so the first, again, will be edit to whereas clause number 10, which would direct staff to update the statistics related to the number of cases, the number of active hospitalizations, and the number of unfortunate deaths of Flathead County residents due to complications from COVID. If I could have a motion friendly amendment to that effect, I would appreciate it.
I'll move to amend the section 10 of the whereas as of December 9th, 2020 to direct staff to include the most up-to-date information as of December 14th today.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. And that was seconded by Rebecca. Councillor Norton. We'll vote on this friendly amendment to the original motion, which is to approve resolution 20-44. Again, this is for the amendment to whereas clause number 10. Michelle, roll call, please.
Councillor Quinnell,
Aye.
Councillor Sweeney,
In favor.
Councillor Davis,
In favor.
Councillor Hennon,
Aye.
Councillor Fury,
In favor?
and Councillor Norton.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that motion does carry unanimously. I'll move to section 4 of the resolution. Dana confirmed that the suggested edits from the Whitefish School District would be included in section 4. Is that correct?
There we go. I believe, it doesn't hurt, I guess, with an amendment since that wasn't what was published, but our intent is to include that language. And if it's easiest for me to reshare that screen, I can.
Why don't you go ahead just for the public record, and then we can see if there's a motion to approve the amendment.
Yep. And then I also just making the edits as we go here. So I can tell you that today there is 8,011 cases of COVID, 23 active hospitalizations, and our deaths remain at 44. So for the section 4, here is the red language that staff has proposed.
Mr. Mayor,
Kind of difficult to see just for the public that's participating tonight. I will just read that very briefly again. So the friendly amendment would be to add schools and places of worship are exempt from gathering limitations in Governor Bullock's recent directive. Places of worship should strongly consider the use of virtual services if social distancing is not possible or practiced.
so moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second to the motion to friendly amendment to section 4?
Second. Oops.
Seconded by Councilor Norton. We will vote on the friendly amendment. Michelle, roll call, please.
Counselor Quinnell,
Aye.
Counselor Sweeney,
In favor.
Counselor Davis,
In favor.
Counselor Hennon,
Aye.
Counselor Fury,
Favor?
and Counselor Norton.
In favor.
Thank you.
And that carries unanimously. Again, the friendly amendment to section 4. Rebecca, I'm going to redirect to you. Did you have an amendment to section 4 as well?
Yes, just to add language where it would read, the city implores all individuals to follow all of Governor Bullock's directives. That's it.
Okay. Is there a second to the friendly text amendment?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilor Quinnell. Michelle, roll call, please.
Counselor Quinnell,
Aye.
Counselor Sweeney,
In favor.
Counselor Davis,
In favor.
Counselor Hennon,
Aye.
Counselor Fury,
In favor?
and Counselor Norton.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. And that friendly amendment passes unanimously. Rebecca, I will stay with you. I believe you had a suggested addition to section 7, and I will let you address that before. I think we'll probably need to hear from our city attorney regarding your amendment.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I know it's kind of out there to do this at the last minute, but we haven't talked or met since the resolution was written. But it would read under section 7, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption by the city council and signing by the mayor thereof, and will expire on March 31st, 2021, period. And the reason why I just bring it up is I asked Angie earlier today if Governor-elect Gianforte eliminates all COVID directives when he comes into office, we would have a lag between what we've been doing to limit the spread of COVID and keep people safe. We don't meet again until January 4th, I believe. And just was trying to come up with a way where we would have, under our charter, an extension to the existing directives that have been developed for this time. Whereas if we don't have anything, we will possibly be without public health precautions. But another part of this discussion is that Joe Russell is now on board, and the Flathead City County Health Department might be coming forth with more language for directives. But I just thought I would put it out there.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to go ahead, and before we entertain if there's a second to the amendment, I would like to direct that to Angela, please.
Sure, John. I mean, I see where Rebecca is going with it, but unfortunately, this is really just a resolution where we're encouraging people to follow the directives, and we're providing support for the task force. So I don't know that putting in an extension date until March would really accomplish much. If our new governor repeals Governor Bullock's directives, and as Rebecca and I did talk, we don't really have an enforcement mechanism. If that were to be the case and we weren't to get any more guidance from the health board, then I think you folks would perhaps look at enacting an ordinance. But I don't know that extending the date of the resolution out till March or the end of March really accomplishes very much if the governor does indeed repeal Governor Bullock's directives at this point. So I don't know that it hurts anything, but I don't know that it accomplishes what you guys want to do.
Okay. Thanks, Angie. That was my impression of the motion, which I understand where you were heading with that, Rebecca, and it's coming from a good place. But unless
I'll be happy to withdraw it, Mayor Mulfeld, if that would be okay. Can I withdraw my motion?
If that's okay with you, I'm not certainly asking you to. If you want to entertain, if there's a second, we can certainly do so.
No, I think Angie's correct. We'll just deal with what comes.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Thanks very much, Rebecca. Further comments from the council or staff for that matter? With that said, we'll move back to the original motion, which is Resolution 20-44, which is a motion for approval as amended. The amendments included an amendment to whereas clause number 10, as well as changes to sections 4 and 7, section 4 of the resolution, not 7. And again, the resolution is of the City Council of the City of Whitefish urging individuals to follow public health guidance and directives and expressing support for the Whitefish COVID-19 task force. Are there any further comments from the council? Michelle, roll call, please.
Councillor Cornell,
In favor.
Councillor Sweeney, I'm sorry, Councillor Sweeney.
In favor.
Thank you. Councillor Davis,
In favor.
Councillor Hennon,
Aye.
Councillor Fury,
In favor.
and Councillor Norton.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Michelle. The resolution passes unanimously with friendly amendments. Not seeing any other business advertised on the agenda this evening, I will go ahead and close this meeting, special meeting of the Whitefish City Council, and just want to wish everyone happy and safe holidays, and hope you can get out and enjoy some outdoor weather and enjoy time with your families in a limited capacity, as we're all aware. So with that said, we are adjourned. Thanks very much.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Steve.
I just wanted to say that I did get a chance to go up skiing yesterday, and I wanted to give a shout out to Whitefish Mountain Resort for all the hard work they've done in terms of keeping people in their masks and just being really vigilant about it. And all the lifties out there who, I know it's not an easy job to be telling people all the time to lift your mask up over your nose, but they did a great job yesterday when I was up there. And I think they deserve some recognition for that. So just wanted to say that tonight.
I appreciate that, Steve. With that said, are there certainly any other comments from the council before we officially adjourn?
I'd just like to say happy holidays to all of you, and thank you, especially the staff and the other councilors and mayor, deputy mayor. Thank you so much for making this year, which was very difficult, actually very meaningful and productive too. So thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca, very much. Further comments from the council? We are adjourned. Thanks very much.
Merry Christmas.
You too, Steve.